What is going on, people of the internet? Hyper Chaotic here with the K double R, and welcome back, or welcome, if this is your first time visiting my channel. Now, before we get into this topic, I'm actually going to be leaving a link in the description down below that's going to go into a little bit more depth on how this term has been used over the years. These two words, in like about 5-6 minutes or less. But for the most part, I'm just gonna go over one thing that people seem to ignore when it comes to the words they them. For starters, for all of the dumb bullshit the alphabet mafia pulls out of their ass when it comes to general vocabulary, they make a lot of bullshit up, from new pronouns to just shoving random words into a definition that never had it, part of its context to begin with. Like, apparently anybody who's confused about transgender people or non-binary people are automatically the phobic, even though the phobic has nothing to do with confusion and everything to do with fear. That's what the fuckophobia is. Having to do with people who fear a certain thing or hate it, since hate does typically come out of fear. But it has nothing to do with confusion. Confusion can sometimes lead to fear, but sometimes it leads to curiosity. To wanting to know more, to rid yourself of the confusion. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, they like to pull a lot of shit out of their ass, out of nowhere. Like, even as somebody who's LGBT but wants nothing to do with the community, it's not the whole of the community. There's a difference between, I would say, the LGBT community, featuring these people that just want to be treated as normal, regular, everyday people trying to get by, versus the alphabet mafia, who just straight up don't want white or straight people to exist. Does anybody want to explain to them how population works and how two people make a baby? No. Well, I'm not gonna be the one to tell them about the birds and the bees. Anyways, they pull a lot of shit out of their asses, even pulling new pride flags every other few months or years or so. I just recently checked out some of the newer pride flags, and I was just like, what the fuck is all of this shit? I thought we were just united under one pride flag. Okay, so we're trying to make individual groups now. We're separating the community. Wonderful. Even though we're supposed to show pride under one fucking flag, as a pansexual, bisexual, whatever the fuck you want to consider it. I don't need 2 or 3 or 5 or a different complete flag to represent me. The pride flag's enough. The only real flag that I need to represent me, well, 2 flags to be honest. It's the Mexican flag and Puerto Rican flag, since I'm half and half. Even though I'm the most Americanized Latino on this planet, probably. Now I'm just fucking up my vocabulary. However, out of all the things they pull out of their ass, the context to they them is not one of them. See, I'm not sure people have been knowing this at all, which is why I'm linking another video in the description that talks more about this a little bit. But when it comes to the context of they them, as a gender neutral pronoun, well, for starters, there's only like a very, 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 very few significant few words that are gender specific in the English language, because it's not really a gendered language like Spanish. Now, granted, when it comes to words in Spanish, for those who haven't seen my Latinx video, it's more so the word that's gendered, and not necessarily always the person you're talking to, that the reason for any words in your sentence being feminine or masculine. It just depends on the context of the word, or if it's just one of the exceptions to the rules, because not all of them are necessarily have a masculine and feminine format, yada yada. Just it's not really a gendered language in general, English. versus Spanish. We only have like what? Mr., Mistress, Actor, Actress. Okay, similar words to that. He, her, she, him. Mr., Mrs., Ma'am, Madam. This is like what, about half, if not 75%, of the gendered specific words in the English language. They, them is, you can't be gender specific with they, them. That's practically gender neutral by default, since most of the language is practically gender neutral. You know, nothing to do with context, nothing with the word itself being gendered, like Spanish. I mean, and it's already used as a pronoun sometimes. Like, before this whole thing was ever politicized, it always has been used as a gender neutral pronoun. Because it's gendered by default. You cannot gender this word. So that's number one. And number two, to those who keep saying you cannot use they, them in a singular format, yes, you can. It does sound a little bit weirder when you use it with them, but it's just kind of like another variation of they, and they can be used in a singular format. Like, you know, instead of who is he, who is she, could say who is they with one person. Who are they? I mean, not who is they. Who are they? And it'll make sense in a sentence. You can say what's wrong with them, talking about one person, and it will make sense in a sentence. You know, the only thing when it comes to these two words is that you cannot use them in like a first person format as a direct pronoun. Like, you cannot use it as a what's the word I'm looking for? A substitute for Mr., Mrs., Ma'am, Madam, or Sir. You can use it in a third person perspective, third person context, and that is it. That's it. You cannot use it as a direct pronoun in a first person context. That's where it doesn't make any sense. Like, for the people who say, oh, directly refer to me as they, them. No, that doesn't make any sense in a sentence. That's not how the context of the word works. Yes, you can use it in a singular format. Yes, it's gender neutral, but that's because it's by default. It's not a gender specific word in any way, form, or fashion. But it's for third person context, from a third person perspective. You cannot use it as a direct pronoun for formal direct communication. That's not how those words work. So it doesn't make any sense to say, instead of like, you know, excuse me, sir, if you say excuse me, them, excuse me, they, you just sound fucking retarded. You sound stupid. That doesn't make any sense in a sentence. Again, you know, in a third person context, you're like, oh, can you refer to me as they, them, instead of, you know, her, him, he, she. Like, that's fine. It can work that way. It can literally work that way. Yeah, so them right there, yeah, that's my buddy. Oh, who are they over there? Oh, that's my coworker. They're non-binary, whatever the fuck. You know, that works. That works in a sentence and from a third person perspective. You cannot use that directly, formally. Like, that just sounds fucking stupid. Excuse me, they, yeah, they, like, you just sound, who talks like that? Also, the only people who want to be referred to that are non-binary people. Sometimes transgender, but primarily non-binary people. Assuming that, you know, some of them don't have preferred pronouns other than they, them. Some of them, you know, they don't mind being, people referring to them as the cisgender they look as, whether it be, you know, a man or a woman. Some of them don't mind if you use either or, but there are some that prefer neither and prefer they, them. Okay, that's fine. You can do whatever the fuck you want, but you're going to have to come up with another word for direct formal contact. Because they, them does not work as a replacement for Mr., Mrs., Ma'am, Madam, Sir. For he, she, him, her, yeah, that's fine. It'll work. it'll work as a substitute for those words, for those pronouns. But for stuff directs shit like sir, Mr., Mrs., Madam, no, it doesn't work in a sentence like that. Also, you're the only ones ever crying about, you know, misgendering stuff. There are some those are the sensitive things. That's not a big to lose your shit. And they don't know their name. They're just gonna look at you. Hey, sir. Right, man. Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. Actually, check. Which is the only time is if they look at you, not because of the way you look, not because of your hair necessarily.
They're down there.
It's just that some people, I remember talking to these, they were cisgender. They were cisgender. Where I look at them.
Come out so I can end this quick.
Something that anybody, their hair, their body features, their facial features, it was just kind of like neutral. I don't really have anything other to describe it other than neutral. You couldn't tell if they were a man or a woman. You didn't see their chest sticking out, but you wouldn't really consider it too flat. Not much of a gut, not really too much of an ass, even though there are a lot of guys out there that got an ass.
Taking damage up here.
Just your brain is trying to register. They literally sound like they just again, with two people that are working seeing this example, okay? There's one why I looked at it.
Backup's coming from the north.
And one of them move out of the way so I can get to class. And I was like, really good for 30 seconds, like. So I really had to start off with, like, first of all, just need to ask, are you a chick or a dude? Stuck. I literally cannot tell. See you there. Straight up said they're a woman.
You got angels inbound for support.
You have the most gender neutral presentation of the body ever. Like, literally, you couldn't tell either. And that's literally, the only time that people are going to ask you what gender you are. As if you literally look like you could be either or. Your body itself is coming off as so gender neutral.
Yeah, baby!
I almost feel sorry. Let's talk about this.
They don't. Because some people just look like they were a chick from the side, from the back. Yeah, I still have a beard. I'm probably still going to say
Everything's close!
Like feminine men don't exist. Like there are men out there who are straight, sometimes gay, who like to dress as women. I'm not referring to cross-dressers, by the way. Dress up like women, not as women. They like to use the makeup. They like to wear the dress, the high heels, but they still have their male features, their beard, and everything. They just like to dress up like women. They like to be very fashionable as the women.
Finally got this place back from Eden's Gate. Thanks.
Local gal's been bothering the Cougars, asking if we can retrieve some personal items that the cult took from her.
Stuff like that.
We can't really spare anyone right now.
Yeah.
Local gal's been bothering the Cougars, asking if we can retrieve some personal items that the cult took from her. We
Some people
can't really
would just
spare
say
anyone
we're just
right
asking in
now.
the first place.
But if you're out her way, maybe you could check in on her.
Everybody's going to sit in your dinner right off the bat. You can correct your mistake.
This is
Don't need to get
fantastic.
fussed about it.
There's new stuff
That
added
shit,
all the time.
okay? Unless they understand, like, from...
Hey, can you help me out? It looks like the Peggies kept a bunch of... Get rid of the angels in the basement.
Yeah, there's the pronouns. Nobody's gonna fucking know. That's never anybody's first fucking thought.
Man, this is the most
If-
awesome game
if
I've ever
I'm on my
played.
way to class and I only have 5 minutes to get there, my main concern is not getting there late. Not if you got a fucking dick or pussy in between, or if you identify with your pussy. Alright, that's not the first fucking thing on my motherfucking mind. So shut the fuck up with that shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, this kind of went on a tangent.
I can't do this no more!
It's literally the only thing. Is that they can't fucking play. So, give them works. Neutral pronoun, but only in a third person, not in a direct form. I don't know. To use for direct communication that would make sense with the context, sentence, or this is something they then, like I said, works when you're talking to somebody else on the sidelines, doesn't work when you're talking to that person. So, we'll just use it. That's it. I just want to give my opinion on that. They them works only in a third person perspective, not a formal communication. Not a formal communication. So come up with a new word for direct formal communication as a gender neutral pronoun, or just tell people your name. Let's just use your name. Oh, I could say if I'm touching the cisgender word. As you can tell, I did just use it fuss. Again, for a lot of the shit that the Alphabet Mafia pulls out of their ass, they kind of did pull cisgender out of their ass. The only term they made up that actually makes any fucking sense. Because see, the word cis, it's an already existing prefix used in a lot of original version of whatever that is. So when somebody calls somebody cisgender, that means original. Now, if you were talking,
You try to
between,
keep us out of this
if we were
building,
talking about
and we must
talking-
push through.
Cover me!
Okay!
We will overcome! Now it's fair!
But if you're talking about specifically a specific system, you can say we can already tell trans men are not like regular men because we call them trans men for a reason. Again,
Over here!
it's just putting.
Don't give up hope. I didn't see a way out of that.
Please help me.
Thank God you
Peggies are fucking crazy.
The word makes sense in context, definition. It makes sense. It just isn't. It doesn't need to be said in every single sentence when you're talking about
Something happened with
or trans
Virgil
people.
and the
You
marshal,
should make it very clear
and then
who you're
everything
talking
went
about.
nuts.
That's it.
They
Or
got
if you're
the
talking
sheriff,
about,
they got
between
everyone.
the two, we
We're
already
in
know
trouble.
who's who when
We
you
gotta move.
Refer to the transgender.
Gate's locked.
That doesn't
One of
make
those
them any
fuckers
less
out there has the
doesn't
key.
make them any less
Hurry!
man or woman. We know you're not originally a woman or a man when you're referred to
Quick,
as trans.
bring the
It's pretty
key!
fucking obvious. It's common sense, man.
Hurry, Rick!
Again, yeah.
Over here!
Like that. They them.
Trying so
Just can't use
hard.
it. It's
Sad. Knowing it's all
communication.
nothing.
But this isn't something completely pulled out of the alphabet. Cisgendered
Oh no.
kind of was pulled out of their ass, but again, look at the definition, use it in context, it actually makes sense. Cis is an existing prefix. It is used in quite a few words. That's it. 10 minutes for right. Reminder to myself, make sure to mention my background in the description if not. Background gameplay, Far Cry 5. Yeah, I just like to make sure to mention my background gameplay in the description, but sometimes I forget, so I'll probably do it verbally from now on. Background gameplay. Yeah, I'm not really gonna focus on it. That said, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If not, leave a dislike and a comment down below. Any interaction is good interaction. And if you disagree with me, do it respectfully. If you think I'm phobic for using English properly,
When this is over, we will
this?
all
The
be
both of y'all
together
get the
in the
fuck off my
bliss.
channel. I'm not gonna fucking argue with you because you don't know how to use the English language properly. Don't even get me started on how you guys want to try to brutalize the Spanish language, because I already did that in my home with everything. If you guys want to check it out, maybe link in the description as well. See you after that. Take care. Kiara. Have a good. Oh, and keep calling people phobic over stupid shit. And don't be surprised if they don't want nothing to do with you, let alone be your fucking ally. Fuck off with that shit. Yeah.
Now you see what we can do. Come to me, and I'll show you a world you never dreamed possible.